Look, this is like a tough day to do a podcast. It's, we're all just processing the tragedy. All proceeds from this podcast are going to go towards the thousands who have been killed and the millions more who have lost their homes in the flooding that occurred today when every woman in America saw J.D. Vance's Diet Mountain Dew joke and got incredibly wet. I know that my apartment building is pretty much ruined right now. There's flooding everywhere.
So what happened to Drake?
Yeah, no, in Drake's words, we wish this was an espresso martini, but it's not. It's pure squirt. It's pure squirt everywhere. The only places not affected are those, like trailer parks where only sex offenders can live because it's mostly men. But beyond that, just anywhere with women is just, welcome to Atlantis. Thanks, JD. Thanks for getting all the women really wet with your incredible joke.
I love the idea of a vice president not only having a beard, which a lot of people are talking about, but also definitely wearing eyeshadow. Like he has eyeliner on, right?
He's got Gary Sini's Mission to Mars style
eyeliner and contour, and it's like it's crazy because he just started doing it like last year. Like no one would notice. It looks like he's doing it himself because it's incredibly noticeable. Like he looks like Nightman. and B, gaslighting is one of those words that doesn't mean anything anymore. But that is gaslighting to be like, no, I've always had that. I always have looked like this. I've always had a nice dark outline around my eyes and worn rouge.
Well, obviously, we are living in unprecedented times for people who talk about politics for a living. It is Monday, July 22nd, and we are coming to you for the first time now after this weekend's unprecedented events. I asked you on our last episode, I asked for my Biden prayer warriors to do a prayer circle to keep their prayers strong for our president. You have failed. You have failed, and Joe Biden is dead. You have killed the president and ushered in this horrible new world where democracy is a fiction. We're no longer living in a democratic country. We have too much to talk about, so we have to talk about it with a guy who I would imagine you have been talking about this for the past, 48 hours straight now. It's like,
yeah.
I saw Hasan, I was feeling for you yesterday. We're here with Hasan Piker. We're doing the Dew and the Hasan Piker Diet Mountain Dew studio.
Yeah.
And believe me, we have plenty to talk about of soda-related matters. But I was feeling for you, Hasan, because yesterday when the news broke that Joe Biden, our president, is dead, that they announced his death, and that Kamala will be, replacing him on the ticket. I saw this is one of the days that you weren't streaming.
Yeah,
you were recording, and then you and Wolf Blitzer. That day began with you filming something, and Wolf Blitzer was enjoying a Wolf Spritzer at a DC area eatery. It was like a Wolf Blitzer style Negroni, and they were like, "Get back in the studio. Joe Biden is dead.
They need you in the stew, Wolf."
He looked so sad. Yeah. It was like usually it's hard to make me feel bad for Wolf Blitzer, and it's happened 2 times. Once when remember when he fucked up during Katrina, and he went, "They are so poor and they are so black," and that was like I don't know. I felt bad for him because he'd probably been on the air for like hours and hours, and he didn't mean to say that. But then this was his day off. He was I don't know. He was going to go to an escape room or something, and then
by himself.
By himself. His hobby is going to escape rooms alone, and then they took that from him. Because they did to Biden what you do to Midra to start his boss fight. They took the sword out of his head, killed him.
It was really messed up what they did. I was in the midst of shooting a trailer for like a Twitch related show, and I told them ahead of time. I was like, Biden's going to drop out on Sunday, and they were like, "Well, we already pushed it last week because Donald Trump was shot," and you were like, "Well, I have to cover this." So they had pushed it to the next Sunday, and I'm like, "Well, Biden's going to drop out." So they set up a green screen for me in the studio that I was at. I was like, "Nah, dude, I'm leaving," and I had full emo makeup on. And I sent a photo of myself to Brace, I was like, this is what I look like when I received the information. He went, JD Vance, question mark? Like, I like that it's just synonymous with JD Vance when you're wearing guy liner. Yeah. He's just, him and Matt Gaetz are doing incredible things for men who want gender affirming care, who want to just live their best lives.
Well, gentlemen, like I said, we're living in a brave new world of politics now, but like, this is obviously the moment that we are praying would never come. I know we are all standing strong for Biden, but how are we processing the news that he is dropping out? He's not resigning the presidency, but he is dropping out of the race. And now we are living in the era. We are now unbowed, unbent, unburdened.
By what has been.
We are unburdened now. We are unburdened by Joe Biden, and we're living in Kamala's time. It is Kamala's time. Joe Biden is dead. He is over. Your prayers were not enough. But like, I don't know. I guess just like, I've been trying to process like the last like couple weeks of Trump nearly getting his head blown off. Like having his ear like kissed by a bullet, which would like put him in the context of probably the most God-kissed man alive.
Oh, yeah.
To go from that into the RNC, feeling himself, he has the mandate of heaven. I'm seeing this now on my computer screen. Trump has lost the mandate of heaven in about 72 hours.
Well, it started at the RNC. Yeah. Like, he blew it. He could have, I was wondering if he was going to attempt, like, not a pivot, but try to, that weird thing he does where he tries to sound optimistic.
Yeah, that's always upsetting.
Really freaks me out. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe his RNC speech. It was just like, it wasn't like, I think we're past the point of like calling his speech scary, but it was just like, it wasn't a material. It was pretty boring. It didn't really go anywhere. I saw a lot of, I love looking at like just the jug hooters of X, the everything site. And everyone saw that thread recently of guys who were like, anyone else, lost their wife over this election? But from there, I went to a bunch of conservative pages and I saw guys who were like, my politically ambivalent wife bailed on Trump because of that speech. Like a lot of wives were hating it. And then, their big gambit failed. They wanted this to be Trump summer, so they do the debate early. And it shocked Democrats into room temperature IQ, into baseline competence.
That is really what I've been struggling with over the past 48 hours. Is like I'm never one to attribute anything, like any kind of collective will or intelligence to the Democratic Party. But the way that this has shaken out leads me to believe that this was all a Machiavellian Sun Tzu Art of War feint to get Biden out of the race, and crucially, to get the entire RNC to just be like, Biden is it. We printed all the merch. We got all the T-shirts. This is going to be a layup. And now it is fascinating because, like, here's the thing. It has been nauseating to watch people, sort of ride this tide of relief after, like, this thing happened. Like, it finally happened. Joe Biden is finally out of the race. But to ride that tide of relief into this, like, memification of Kamala Harris, and it's like, it's Kamala Girl Summer, and like this absolute zero, this nothing midwit who has been a terrible politician her entire life, had to drop out of the presidential race because she wouldn't even win her own state, as like the savior of democracy. But at the same time, it's just like, I just really wonder, like, was this all planned? Because it seems that way.
She picked up the campaign. She's like using the same people, which leads me to believe that it was actually a coup. Like, it was a coup attempt.
It was Nancy Pelosi was like, Biden, you really... Because the thing is, like, now what we're learning now is that, like, every Democrat who holds office in this country who's been in a room with him over the last 4 years has known exactly what's going on with him.
After like, they've done everything. It started with... the first time this happened was when Sarah Huckabee Sanders, when Trump was still president, she made fun of him. And that's when they first trotted out the stutter line. And it worked because they were, talking to a woman that no one should ever see. Just no one liked seeing her. No one liked her. They're going to get rid of Arkansas, so we don't have to see her anymore. No one so like, you could have said anything to her. You could have been like, Joe Biden was shot by an assassin, and that's why he sounds stupid. And everyone would have cheered. But after that, they tried ableism, ageism, all the way into saying that John Lovett raped Joe Biden by saying he should leave. But all along being like, this is bullying the media into not covering it, getting exactly what they wanted until the media could no longer do that. They needed to, maintain some degree of legitimacy and not just cover that debate and go, nothing weird here.
Yeah.
And they were, the victims of their own success in that, right? But there's just no reconciliation or reckoning with the fact that, they lied to everyone. They didn't just lie to everyone. They said if the news said that there was even a difference between how Joe Biden sounded in 2018 and 2022, it was Russian propaganda. You want Trump to win. You hate democracy. And now they going from that to Pelosi going on Meet the Press and being like, maybe he has fucking Parkinson's. It's insane.
I just I want to read a couple reactions from Twitter to the changing out the top of the ticket. The first is from Lawrence Tribe at Tribe Law. Changing horses in midstream is rarely wise, but it's another matter entirely when the stream is the Rubicon. And it's the warrior on the horse who's selflessly handing the reins to his seasoned partner and will help her navigate the journey. So Joe Biden's going to help Kamala in this metaphor here navigate her journey across a river.
So who's Caesar? Are they both Caesar? Kamala turns into Caesar when she's midway across the Rubicon, and then she gets on Biden's horse. What are you talking about?
I think Kamala is Titus Pullo in this arrangement. And the next one I want to repeat is from historian Timothy Schneider. Smiling as I watch black men on my feed promising to stand at Taylor Swift as she endorses Kamala Harris. Culture is loosening up in a good way. Let's make a much better future. And just the inundation of people just like so happy for Kamala, and I'm seeing this, and these people talk about like, man, I wouldn't want to be Trump or the Republicans when Taylor Swift and Beyonce hold an election concert for Kamala and put him on. When I start hearing this shit, I just see a map turning all red, just 49 red states. But then at the same time, I've been witnessing how the right-wing media and right-wing politicians are reacting to this, and I see the same map just turning all blue again. Because it is like they do not like they are so clearly flailing right now with how to react to this, and what they're coming up with shows that like they're not speaking from a position of strength right now. Because I was talking to Androsky about this last night, and he said that, like, the easy line for them is like, we beat Joe Biden without even an election happening. We beat Joe Biden. We ended his political career by standing on stage next to him for 2 hours. That was all it took. So Kamala should be a fucking layup. But they're acting like, okay, what are the lines that are coming out of there? She's a childless cat lady. She's childless cat lady, and she's the throat goat.
Yeah. Yeah. In the after, I think it's amazing. After 2022, there was no no reckoning. None of the parties have any reckoning for their incredible incompetence. But after 2022, not just in Japan, but in most countries, they would have made the head of the party kill themselves. And, after the Dobbs election, to be like, all right, we've got it. You're not really black. That's something we, the Republicans, care about for some reason.
Yeah.
If you're a foundational black American, someone's been watching Buck Breaking. But that, and you blew everyone in America, I guess. Which all women do. Please vote for us. Like, what?
I like that one of the immediate reactions was calls for democracy from both Stephen Miller and also what's the fucking Mike Johnson. I despise him. I mean, he's such a freak. But their immediate reaction was like crying. Donald Trump literally demanding a refund on all the campaigns.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You guys demanded Joe Biden drop out and how much he sucked shit for like 4 fucking years, and it was valid. Fox News was the only fucking media outlet out of the major networks that was covering how demented Joe Biden was all the goddamn time, and you didn't set up a strategy for what comes after?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
What, you didn't think he could at least die maybe?
Yeah.
it's so like I would describe their reaction as just unbridled panic. It's insane. Like it just, it's either like, yeah, this flailing, like they sound like Jamie Harrison, where they're like,
Yeah.
they voted, we had a fucking primary, they voted for him. But yeah, no, it's, how can you call these things now? But after living through 2022, I know what it looks like when they bung things up. It looks like this. It's this pure unbridled panic, and then not knowing how much they're annoying everyone with their social stuff.
Yeah, that is the thing, because like I feel like where we're at now with Joe Biden bowing out is that like things have sort of like we have like a normal political presidential campaign, and like they were counting on the fact that like if your opponent is a guy who can't speak, like you don't have to run a normal presidential campaign.
You can pick JD Vance.
Yeah, you can pick exactly.
Yeah. You can pick the shittiest
when you think you're running up the score and you think you're gonna waltz into November, you pick a guy like JD Vance who's like that's the base pick.
That's
and
like,
then one thing the thing that you said was going to happen and that you were demanding happens. Then they're just like, oh fuck.
Dave Rubin said in like 2021, I will quit the Dave Rubin show forever. I'll delete all my accounts. I'll get off all those weird conservative sites like Locals. I'll stop doing live streams with Zuby, the conservative rapper, if Joe Biden serves his entire term and runs for re-election. He's not going to do it. He's going to die. And then he doesn't do it. And he's like, well, it doesn't matter that he didn't. Yeah. You guys said this was going to happen. All of you.
Hassan, like your point about like the line that they've settled on now is that this is a coup.
Yeah.
This is a coup for like a president to not run for re-election and then hand it off to his vice president. And look, you can talk about like, would it be more democratic if the Democrats had some kind of open convention? Probably. I mean, I don't care. But what I do know is I don't think that there is anything close to anything close to a sentiment among the average Democratic voter that they care about like having a nominating process. I think that they want it to be over and they want a different person on TV. That's all they care about.
But it worked. That goes back to what you were saying about how the media was like lying for 4 years, because up until the very last moment, there were still hanger-ons like Joe Scarborough, who, by the way, my favorite program. I watch.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. I watch it every morning, and I was like, he was just like white-knuckling through this process, like when he had the conversation with Joe Biden.
You saw the look on him and Mika's face when they were talking to him. They looked like they'd seen that they were talking to a ghost.
Yeah,
that was so awesome. That was like when Luke Wilson gets to the time machine in Idiocracy. Just the same deflatedness.
Yeah. But it's 83%, according to new polls that came out, 83% of Democratic Party voters approve of the decision of swapping out Joe Biden. They fundraised like record-breaking numbers on Act Blue. I think it was like $80 million in the span of 24 hours. Trump couldn't get that after he got fucking shot, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. And meanwhile, like the entire narrative is like, oh, there's a coup happening, and it's like, no, it seems like the Democratic Party was like pretty invested in, like the Democratic Party voters were like, just please don't put a fucking old man who can't speak.
Just give us someone who they think can beat Trump, and like whether Kamala can beat Trump. As far as I'm concerned, an open question. I'm not putting my chips down anyway whatsoever on this. And you know, to our peon listeners who need everything spelled out for them by wise and noble Caesar, I ain't voting for her either. So let's just get that clear. She's shown no indication that she'll be anything different than Joe Biden or any other Democrat.
Well, we can move Kamala left. Yeah. Will. That's so fucked up that you said that.
Seamus, who we've had on our show a few times, he said it very succinctly. This really separated the wheat from the chaff on Gaza. How many people cared about this because it was the thing to care about it versus how many people actually care about it?
And as long as we were talking about it, like similar to the Super Bowl and the Oscars, Israel is very aware when Americans are distracted, and they are right now ramping up the slaughter to unparalleled degrees. I mean, like they're attacking all of the safe zones. I mean, Felix, I know you saw that clip today of an Israeli soldier just demolishing ultrasound equipment in the last cancer hospital left in Gaza.
Last year, when there were more eyes on this, they at least they
said it was a terrorist computer.
Right. They would say
it was a terrorist ultrasound.
This is a terrorist MRI. This is this pap smear thing where it's actually used to like put miniature terrorists in the pussies of women and make them walk into Israel as guest workers. I don't know. Just whatever crazy stuff. They would have that really ugly guy who was in the Israeli Navy SEALs. Like he would show you like a fuse box and be like, this is a terror fuse box. This is they wired the Quran into this.
Oh, but put some respect on Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari's name, please. He could hear you with his fucking elephant ears all the way from Tel Aviv.
Daniel Hagari, this time they're just showing a video of one of their dumb soldiers throwing a tantrum in there, and they're not even like, this is a Hamas computer, this is a Hamas stethoscope. Like it just, I am always amazed by when we see these clips of IDF soldiers shortly before they walk directly into a giant mouse trap. Just like the lack of discipline and professionalism. They have like the professionalism of those like Baltic units that got signed over to the SS farm team, that even the Nazis had to go like, calm down, killing all these Jews. It's the same level of just how much they have it together, and also like they keep wandering into windows. The only clips we see of them are them like committing war crimes, like fucking up someone's house, putting on bras for some reason, throwing tantrums, and then wandering around windows and getting like triple collated.
Well, Netanyahu will be addressing Congress on Wednesday. I've heard that Kamala won't be attending. But you know what a brave stance from Kamala here. But
She's still gonna have a secret meeting with him, though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
so.
She doesn't want to be photographed with him. But as other people have pointed out, every one of these Democratic leaders who are like, no, I won't be attending Netanyahu's address, I won't have my photo taken shaking hands with him, will be attending a closed door meeting with him, and they would have absolutely no problem shaking hands and being photographed with Benny Gantz or Yoav Gallant or whatever, any of those other butchers.
We know that because all of them voted for $3.8 billion and more in unconditional aid like 2 months ago. That Brian Schatz asshole, who I cannot stand, the guy from Hawaii who loves pretending he's a normal guy online, he is sort of like leading the charge on the the senators who won't attend the Netanyahu address. Okay, then why did you like just refill all their weapon stores for free? Why?
No, you don't understand. It's because Netanyahu's the only bad guy. But even then, he's not a bad guy if the ICC prosecutes him. In which case, the ICC is the bad guy. Yeah. Which is, I mean, it is a ginormous fuck up. You got an ICJ decision that just came down. That's like pretty. I would say it's pretty historic. I know that like these are toothless institutions.
This is like
at the end of the
advisory decision, but I mean, so these are the bodies that adjudicate international law, and they're all saying something very clearly.
Yeah, it's like it's another pressure. It's another vector of pressure for Israel. It will create more tension. It will give more validity to people that say like, okay, well, we're not going to do business with you. I think Pakistan was even like potentially contemplating something, but at the end of the day, when all of that is happening, when Israel is still very much a pariah state, I feel like the Democrats' opinion and the American government's opinion universally is like, oh, people will just like kind of forget about this, and I don't know. I don't think that you will win Michigan unless Kamala Harris like even attempts to try to try to change the narrative on Gaza, on what she will do on Gaza. And they don't recognize this at all.
And I think like it's there for the taking. I think a lot of people would probably be willing to look past all this shit if she does something other than just like, I'm not attending his speech.
Yeah.
If she makes like some sort of statement about cutting off funding for arms or whatever, because like people like this war is not popular in America. I think people just don't. I think they want it to just be gone. They don't want to think about it. Yeah. But to the extent that they're confronted with having to think about it, they don't like the idea that America is doing all this because it's getting. I mean, I don't know. Like CBS Sunday Morning just had an interview with a trauma surgeon from America. Did you see that today?
Yeah.
Where he was just talking about like.
And then there's sniper bullets. I have children that were shot twice.
Wait, you're saying that children in Gaza are being shot by snipers?
Definitively. I have 2 children that I have photographs of that were shot so perfectly in the chest I couldn't put my stethoscope over their heart more accurately, and directly on the side of the head. in the same child. No toddler gets shot twice by mistake by the world's best sniper. And they're dead center shots.
I'm treating toddlers who are shot through the heart and head
And they
with
had
sniper
photos
bullets.
as
They have
well.
photos of it.
I
like
don't-
double tap. Like,
I have never heard of an army that, and this isn't new. This was a big thing in 2021 with the peaceful march that everyone's saying that Palestinians should try. But
you mean 2018, the march on Gaza? Or, I mean, the
Great
march
March
on
of
the
Return.
wall.
the march in 2021 where they like shot out everyone.
After Shireen Abu Akleh? That was 2021.
Yeah. I think
It was 2018 when the embassy
I'm talking
moving.
about when they like shot everyone's ankles. Wasn't that 21?
Okay, that could be literally any moment.
right. Right. But
Not narrowing it down at all for
okay.
Israel.
Anyway, like I've never heard of an army where I think it's actual explicit policy, like it's in the field manuals, how and when and how often you should shoot toddlers with a sniper rifle.
Yeah,
like there's like obviously
they tweeted, the IDF tweeted after 2018 is what you're talking about, the peaceful march of return, when they were walking to the border wall and they shot like they shot like pregnant people, they shot people in wheelchairs. The IDF literally tweeted out, "We accounted for every bullet." And then I guess someone, maybe Daniel Hagari, was like, "Wait, this is not good. maybe we should delete." Because they took out like 42 children's kneecaps.
yeah,
a
they
day.
crippled entire families.
Yeah, so they were like, maybe this is not the best PR, so they deleted it, and it's like, oh, it's a little too late at that point.
and like, and Kamala is as guilty as Joe Biden is with all of this shit. Like, I mean, the blood is on her hands too. But the thing is, like, as I was saying earlier, like what we have here is essentially like it is reverted to a mean of like we now have like more or less kind of like what should be a normal presidential campaign. And like the Democrats right now seem to be more capable of taking advantage of that because like we were talking like last episode about how the Democratic Party has spent the last 9 years like becoming incapable of doing anything other than like confronting the threat that Trump represents. In those same 9 years, the Republican Party has become a party that is just a reflection of Donald Trump, which means that like when faced with an opponent who is just kind of like the standard Democratic Party presidential candidate, they're incapable of running a normal presidential campaign or sounding normal or talking normal. And like, this is the two poles I'm pulled here is on the one hand, I see in Kamala Harris, a presidential campaign, Hillary Clinton 2.0, who's maybe like 20% more human and relatable, but is like could run a campaign that is just like celebrity endorsements and dangerous Donald.
Yeah,
and if that's the case, it's going to look like fucking Nixon McGovern.
I don't think it would look like Nixon McGovern, but I could see like, sort of Hillary style popular vote victory, narrow popular vote victory, electoral college loss, or even a narrow popular vote victory due to lack of name recognition or something. But I don't know either way. But like after I saw that Charlie XCX go, Kamala is Brad. I was like, sell, get out.
As I said earlier, but then I see the way that like Trump particularly, who's just basically saying now, like, please bring back Joe Biden. It's not fair. Please, this isn't fair. I want Joe Biden is the legitimate president. He doesn't have COVID. Let him in. Let him in. It's just
He
like
tweeted
the way
literally that.
with like it's not like you said the thing that were like they're all saying like this is a coup. If you thought January 6th was a coup, then like a political party deciding that like the guy who's president is like decides for himself, hey, I don't want to run for president anymore. Here's my vice president. That's a coup.
Before the convention too, like that's the other part of it. It's like nothing is set in stone, and now they want to do like legal paperwork to be like, no, you have to put Joe Biden on the ticket, and it's like. First of all, if I'm the Republican Party, the last thing I want to fucking do is remind people that like you try to do this complicated ballot swap initiative with like false electors and all this shit. So you're literally trying to rerun like loser shit that you did.
Yeah, this is
that led to January 6th.
They have a stink of loser mentality on them now, and that I can't because like this runs counter to my like natural programming, which is like of course the Democrats are going to fuck this up, but the way the right wing media and Trump himself is reacting right now bespeaks a deep panic among them right now.
Well, the worst thing that happened, among the worst things that happened to Trump, the Republican Party, right, was not only losing in 2020, but like the way that they approached it afterwards. It's exactly right. It's the stench of loserdom, of talking for years and years and years about how you didn't really lose and doing these incredibly boring court cases. Like we watched the Mike Lindell Chinese election movie. Remember that? Like, remember how
Banger.
It was a banger. He made a studio in his house and he would just have he would have different crackheads come on and be like, I saw a fucking Chinese guy in the computer room. And Mike Lindell would go, wow.
And they can change the vote to anything they want and send it back cyberly by cyber.
Correct.
Wow.
And it's 4 hours long and it's so confusing and boring. But it's poison because your output for years and years and years is I lost. Keep in mind I lost. Remember that I hate that I lost and that I won't stop talking about it. But I didn't really lose. And remember that I'm a sore loser. It's poison. Any
also we're gonna
rewind of that is death.
And also, we're going to make like 0.1% of the population be like the enemies of everybody. And you have to constantly think about like children's genitals and like trans people. And it's like, it's just like such a silly narrative to try to run a national campaign on. And, Macrism is right. It's just the normal voters were grossed out by that. And they're literally rerunning that again and again, because they just have no other method to success. Like, what are they going to go back to? You think they're going to go back to tort reform?
Yeah.
Like, they can't do that. You know? Or deficit hawking?
Yeah, they're making it a part of their national platform to talk about, like, Riley Gaines. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Imagine anyone, I'm sorry, making, like, Division III women's swimming an issue in their national party in any way.
Give me a mountain and nothing to do. Give me the sunshine, give me you do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and smooth, refreshing Mountain Dew, yeah.
Well, let's talk about JD because like this was him a couple years ago, but like it's being surfaced now that Kamala is by all accounts going to be the nominee. He said a while ago that Kamala Harris is a childless cat lady who is miserable with her life because she doesn't have children, and that not having children means she doesn't have a direct stake in America. Like she wants to control our future, but because she doesn't have any actual kids of her own, she has no stake in the future. And I was just thinking, I forgot Kamala Harris is a step parent, but like, what would you venture a guess at as to like what percentage of current American families are blended in some way? Because it's probably close to half.
Yeah, just masterclass.
Yeah.
Send this.
Step parents are not real parents. You heard it here first.
Send this like sort of 5'7" fruitcake out there, who's again dressed up like Nightman, looks like shit, looks insane. No one has ever looked like him.
He looks so scary. He looks creepy.
He looks horrible.
He's hard to look at.
Yeah, he looks like, I don't know, a molester from a TV movie. That's kind of his look. Like how child abductors were reviewed in the 80s, where it's like, I'm abducting a child to worship Satan with. That's why I'm wearing eyeliner.
But at least without the beard, he looked like a child. Like he looked like Augustus Gloop or whatever. So like it wasn't as threatening.
He would, if he didn't have the beard and did the eyeliner now, he would look like Vito's son from The Sopranos. After he went, you're a fucking disgrace.
You look like a Puerto Rican hua.
Yeah. Trump's going to send him to wilderness camp.
No, Trump said he looks hot.
Yeah,
I read
beautiful
a report.
blue eyes.
Yeah, he has beautiful blue eyes. He's like so pretty, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Dan,
But he's thinking about Eric and Don Jr. He's thinking he looks like a beautiful, beautiful boy compared to those two freaks.
Yeah,
to
fair.
Beavis and Butthead.
But like that, one of the just most disconcerting looking guys ever goes out there and he's like, I don't know what, like 40, 50, 60 million voters, not real parents. Fuck you.
Yeah.
No. Let's talk about the diet do moment from today.
Oh my god!
Because this was, and like once again, like I can sense the panic setting in about how bad a pick this was. A pick that made sense when you were running against a man who was fully senile and 80% of his own voters are like, please do not run for president.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys. But
when I saw the diet soda pick, it made me yearn for the charisma and the explosive stage presence of Ron DeSantis. That made It's Sugar Man look like the coolest thing anyone's ever said.
This was like when I saw it, it was like, so he's up there, and apparently this was in his hometown too, and like, so the fire he's spitting is like, yeah, I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday. I'll have one today. They'll probably say that that's racist, and you can literally hear someone cough in the background. And then he goes. But the really bad part is when he like, it's like I've seen like you see so many stand-up comedians bombing, and then they're just like, "I love you guys," and then you literally hear one clap in the background.
Yeah, I love you guys was
I love you guys.
That was horrible. That was like if he had gotten up there and been like, I'm leaving my wife for an 11-year-old, I think it probably would have been better received, because it's like there's nothing worse than to just bomb like that and be like, all right, I'm killing it. Like, I think that's just humans have like a natural like. You go into vats when you see that. It makes you go crazy. I want to kill someone when they do that.
He has very like Pete Buttigieg style instincts, I think, where it's like focus tested in his mind. He's like, what are these fucking disgusting mountain people from my hometown that I despise enjoy? Mountain Dew. That's what I'm going to connect with them on.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Diet Dew.
Yeah,
Just
nobody's
go full sugar.
Yeah,
JD.
nobody's
Come on,
fucking
man.
drinking Diet Mountain Dew over there,
No
okay?
such thing as halfway crooks.
Yeah, and also
Either you do the do or you don't.
Isn't he supposed to be into all this stupid right-wing stuff where it's like, oh, if you avoid drinking red dye number 63, it will kill all the sperm in your body. Don't, if you have peanut oil, you're pretty much killing yourself. Isn't he into all that stuff?
Yeah,
what do you think's in Diet Mountain Dew, JD?
He's a podcaster. He's like a fucking born again. He's a Catholic revert or convert. Right? Isn't he like a
convert? Yeah,
He's an adult convert to Catholicism, which is, red flag right there. And then beyond that, he's like such a podcaster adjacent person. That's why he has the childless a cat lady bar from Tucker Carlson, because for the longest time he wanted to pivot to a Blake Masters style as one of Peter Thiel's blood boys. He wanted to be like Blake Masters and be like Groyper and based. So he would do that sort of shit.
He started out his career trying to be Bill Kristol.
Yeah.
And now he's switching up the game, and like he just wants to. Yeah, he wants to be Tucker. But JD, I can't wait to see where this goes with JD. I can't wait till Trump turns on him.
Oh my! It's like if it didn't happen already after the Diet Mountain Dew clip.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sad that we are not getting a second Joe debate. I thought that was going to be so fun. I thought it would bring everyone together. We're not getting it, unfortunately. But the same way I felt about that, I feel about what's the next weird thing JD Vance does? What's the next weird thing he does that annoys everyone? We've already seen him bomb and go, I love you guys, which is repellent. But it's just, the world is his oyster. He just unfollowed Steve Saylor today. He just remembered that he had to do that. And it's perfect, right? It's perfect because doing it now where everyone's paying attention, you look craven and like you don't believe in anything. Like, oh, that was expedient for you to do when you were ascended in online right circles to show how based you are. But now that you're on the national stage, you're going to completely disavow that. But it also makes you look completely fucking transactional. The same reason that people were turned off by Pete Buttigieg, but also insane. Also like a lunatic.
I have an article here in Politico that shines some light into the inner life of Mr. J.D. Vance. Headline here, How Lord of the Rings Shaped J.D. Vance's Politics. A lot of my conservative worldview was influenced by Tolkien. We need to get this boy some pads and a tackling dummy. We need to get him out there on the football field before the general election.
Whenever I hear anyone talk about Tolkien, I always think, let's get you some shifts at a Costco or something. Maybe we could enroll you in a class. I've always sort of been against Tolkien since I tried to read Lord of the Rings like 20 years ago. And there's so many songs in that fucking book. I don't know who wants to read all those songs. But George R.R. Martin, that is the pick of the BRICS countries. I'm with George R.R. Martin, you know.
I just want to read here from the Politico piece here. It says, quote, by the time the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Nyra has been entrusted to Gandalf to resist the corrupting influence of evil, preserve the world from decay, and give strength to its wielder, said Tolkien head John Shelton, who, in not engaging in fantasy literature, is policy director for Advancing American Freedom, founded by former Vice President Mike Pence. Gandalf, unlike the other great powers in Lord of the Rings, cared for the hobbits and other lowly people of Middle-earth, and so it is unsurprising that Vance would see himself as a kind of Gandalf, caring for the forgotten people of his hometown, keeping a watchful eye on them against the corrupting effects of the world.
Yeah, that's your take. You read Lord of the Rings. I'm Gandalf.
But like,
come on.
This is so lib-coded too. I despise this motherfucker so much for like that reason alone, almost, where he's tailored his entire media presence around like appealing to liberals in his formative years, I guess. When he was a young man of the age of 35, when he thought Trump was Hitler.
Yeah.
Because the media duped him, which is a wonderful narrative there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's the same thing Tucker Carlson says when you're like, you were for the Iraq War when you were 48. I was fooled.
Yeah.
Going over this, says, Luke Burgess, author of a book about René Girard, another of Vance's intellectual heroes and Catholic University of America professor, said he suspects Vance's appreciation of Tolkien is not unrelated to his conversion to Catholicism in 2019. Of the many ways that Tolkien's work exemplifies the Catholic imagination, one is the relationship between the visible and the invisible. I think it's fair to say that Vance believes that there is real spiritual evil in the world, and it can become embodied in rites and rituals. At a closed-door speech in September 2021, Vance said, I believe the devil is real, and that he works terrible things in our society. So his line is, I'm a wizard who will save all of these these hobbits, these little holler hobbits from the evils of the world.
But also, I'm a wizard who was working for Sauron until 2 years ago. I just realized Sauron's bad.
Well, listen to this. He says, Vance has said his own time in the Marines deployed in Iraq was formative to his isolationist, dovish approach to foreign policy. Sure. I served my country honorably, and I saw when I went to Iraq that I had been lied to, Vance once recounted. I saw the promises of the foreign policy establishment of this country were a complete joke. Still support Israel, though.
Yeah.
It's like
is this
another adult man being conned and lied to.
It's the Tulsi Gabbard phenomenon. It's just, you're the based anti-imperialist because you went to Iraq, but you also want to continue murdering as many brown children as possible.
Yeah. I'm a based isolationist, anti-imperialist who's completely in support of Israel, and also, we need to this brinksmanship with Russia needs to end. No World War III. Let's instead tilt our sabers towards China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's stop wasting our time with this Ukraine stuff so we can do the same thing in Taiwan.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought up Taiwan because I have another reaction to the Biden news. This comes from courtesy of Felix, as you're now referring to him, Bill Smoke Crackman. This is Bill Ackman.
He's so fucked. Do not if you won the lottery, if you successfully sued the city after getting hit by a mail truck, I don't know. Whatever circumstances giving you a high net worth, if you're able to invest in hedge funds, do not invest with Bill Smoke Crackman. He got his shirt taken by Herbalife. That was strike one. And now he thinks there were two Trump shooters?
There was a second shooter at the Trump event.
God, him and his wife, what a pair. Bill is smoking crack, and his wife needs to live in a habit trail.
But this is Bill Ackman from yesterday. One would think that a letter to the American people from the president announcing his decision to step aside would not be signed using a digital signature and would be accompanied by a photo op and a scheduled conference in the morning that followed. Instead, we have a digitally signed letter released on the president's X account, an account we know he is run by a staffer. No photo and no live scheduled address to the American people. If I were China, I would invade Taiwan tomorrow. Buddy, if you were China,
if you were China, Herbalife would not still be here.
But I gotta say, I mean, to Bill Smoke Crackman's credit, I have been wondering, is Biden actually dead? Because I haven't seen hide nor hair.
That would be hilarious if he just quietly died.
On the car ride over here, do you remember when MF Doom died? And it was like at the very end of the year, they issued a say like MF Doom has died, but he actually died like 3 months earlier, and they just like announced it at the end of the year.
Well, do you think, this is kind of sad, but sometimes when like a working dog, like a hunting dog or something, when they're very old and they know they're gonna die, it's part of their like it's in their DNA that if they think they're gonna die, they go somewhere where they think they won't like hold the pack back. They go away from the pack.
They go under the porch.
Yeah, under the porch or something, so they can go die, and so it doesn't endanger the rest of the brood. Do you think that like Biden probably has a lot of Major and Champ's DNA in him now? They were probably keeping him alive.
He's the summer house in Delaware.
Yeah, they were giving him like organs from Champ and Major and Champion and fucking Battleship and Navy and all the other dogs we've never heard of. And he's probably half dog now. He might have wandered into like the East Wing and gone into that tunnel that LBJ installed in the White House so he could have affairs. And went in there and just silently died. And no one has any idea. No one's seen him.
I have an update on this narrative that a lot of Republicans are wondering about, and brave truth tellers here at Chapo Trap House. Kamala Harris did her first big public appearance since she took over the election campaign at the campaign headquarters in Wilmington.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in Wilmington. And Joe Biden was on the phone. And Joe Biden was actually shockingly more coherent than he has ever been. I'm not even kidding. He was alert.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe.
He was talking. Have you guys seen that AI Joe Biden being like, oh, yeah, that's right. Like, all you guys fucking suck. I'm not leaving like that. There was like a fake State of the Union video that was going
I didn't
around.
see that one.
It sounded like AI Biden. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
It sounded like AI Biden, and I saw a bunch of Republicans be like, that's AI. That's not real Biden. Like, or that's pre-recorded. Like, that must be pre-recorded. Even though they kept the phone going, and he would like chime in every now and then after Kamala got on and like started giving a speech. He would, every now and then he would respond. But it feeds into the narrative. It feeds into the conspiracy that maybe Biden is dead and they're just using AI voice now over the phone.
He does have that brother that looks exactly like him, but like 10% like more evil.
This is remember the Kevin Kline movie Dave? Where they get a guy who looks like the president to be president when the president dies or goes into a coma or something.
Yeah, it could be Frank.
Could be.
Did you see the but this was like literally an hour before Biden finally stepped down.
Died.
But Frank Biden said something about how like Joe resents Obama. He either like someone close to him leaked this or he leaked it to the media. And the Biden family, a source from within the Biden family, so who knows who this was, said that's actually not true. Frank Biden suffers from alcoholism and the president doesn't like him. And I love on the way out that we found out that everyone in the Biden family also despises each other.
Well, I mean, another interesting thing about the reporting about Biden stepping down is like the reporting from Politico over the weekend had the people in Biden's inner circle who were like the comms people who were like up until that morning issuing statements like, we're in it to win it. Everything you've heard is a lie. Like, he is tanned, rested, ready. He is vigorous and ready to take this to November and beat Donald Trump. They found out about it from Twitter.
Yeah.
And like the fact that like everyone in his inner circle had no fucking clue that this was going to happen, and then were shocked to find out when it did happen. I really like that because there is no one on earth who he treats worse than the people who really believe in him.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, on one hand, it is like incompetent management.
At some level, like however his brain is functioning, on some level, you can't help but have contempt for these people.
Right. Even if even if you're Joe Biden, you agree with John Kirby and everything, you can't like look at him and be like, oh, I want this guy's life to be easier.
Yeah. I don't think anybody wants John Kirby's life to be easier.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But like, I mean, there was some great stuff like leading into Sunday. This is one of my favorite Biden accounts. Trouble Man said,
I love Troubled Man.
Is a trouble. The Troubled
Is that
Man.
the one that said he's a Biden or buster?
It could have been. Or was that Jamie Harrison or Chris Jackson? Or
Jamie Harrison has said that as well.
Yeah.
He said, I need to recollect my thoughts because I'm still riding with Biden after Biden dropped out.
You're the head of the
He was
party.
crying. Yeah. Okay, wait. No, the Jamie Harrison quote was great. Let me find that. Yeah, Jamie Harrison says, "I'm emotional because I'm still riding with Biden. I still support my president."
Oh.
You're the head of the party.
Yeah,
I do like Chris Jackson had almost like he's my favorite like pro Biden guy because he is. I don't even think he's really gotten anything from Joe. Like he probably has like some bullshit job in the White House, but he's not like he hasn't been majorly remunerated. He just really is into Joe for some crazy reason. And he said, well, I hope you're fucking happy. Anything that happens now is on you. Yeah, watch out for the storm.
The Troubled Man said, Biden's loyalty to Kamala is something to behold. He sees the wolves eyeing her, trying to usurp not only him, but her as well. And he will be damned if he lets that happen. I am deeply moved and motivated more than ever to push or carry him across the finish line.
I would assume it's more of a carry.
But I love the idea that like they're trying to usurp Kamala by making her the presidential nominee.
That was the best. That was the best part. Like that, making Joe step down and making Kamala the nominee. It's somehow like an attack on her and all black women.
Yeah,
that was a sneaky thing they tried in Biden world in the last week, and it really did not go anywhere.
But you know who is picking up and running with that? The right wing media.
Yeah,
and like this is how you know. Like, okay, this is Eric Erickson. Kamala Harris is the daughter of an Indian and Jamaican immigrants who married a Jewish man. Her experience is the American dream and melting pot, but not really the black experience, particularly that in southern swing states like Georgia and North Carolina.
You would know, Eric.
Yeah,
but like. That's also true of Obama, and that didn't matter one fucking iota.
Yeah.
I don't think that mattered to swing voters in Georgia and North Carolina.
Yeah, and it's also like, maybe you could try that. Probably not. You could probably.
They should go with the full ADOS. They should go with the full ADOS campaign.
They should do a second convention with like Umar up there. But you wouldn't be able to pull this off anytime. Like you could never get like Eric Erickson up there to talk about like what the real black experience is. But especially not after like 3 years of like every Republican retweeting accounts called like black crime alerts. You really like, okay, do you like black people or not?
One more reaction I saw.
No, you don't understand. Trump got convicted and he got shot at. He's just like black people. That's their narrative.
He's not like us.
Yeah.
Yo, fam, slap 5.
All right, there's a really good JD Vance reaction. This is from a guy who goes by Chrisman, and this is Chrisman Frank. And this is like the most factory reject Matt Chrisman I've ever heard. He's some tech shithead. But listen to this. He said, Vance has wartime physiognomy.
What? What the Cola Wars?
Oh, no.
He says, Vance has wartime physiognomy. He looks like every Civil War general who got promoted after the first few battles happened and people figured out who was good at war.
Okay, so you mean like the Confederate generals who
Like inbred. That's what he means.
The Confederate generals who Robert E. Lee promoted because he was like, you have beautiful eyes. and then they lost like 20 armies worth of guys.
This is what I mean about how like they can't just talk about she's going to tax and spend.
Yeah.
She's going to surrender to our enemies abroad. They have to talk about fucking physiognomy.
And also, like, physiognomy for J.D. Vance. Like, that's not a wartime. No one in the Civil War looked like him. You could only look like
No one in the Civil War ate enough calories to look like J.D. Vance.
The only guys who had enough money to look like J.D. Vance were, like, J.P. Morgan and guys like that. You have to be a billionaire to afford that much, like, pig fat and beef transported by train.
He'd be out by 35 with gout. Like, it would be over for him.
Yeah, it's just, I don't give a shit if he was in the Marines. He does not look like he was in a war.
No, he was, but I think he was like a PR guy anyway. Like, I don't think he was like.
It was like a Ron DeSantis type position.
No, he wasn't like a lawyer. I think he like did PR for the military. I don't know. I think Pete Buttigieg might have seen more action than JD Vance with his mineral maps.
Well, there is that picture of Pete Buttigieg looking insane. Like he
when he has the strap on him, when he's got that stick on him.
He looks insane in that picture.
Insanely hot, you mean?
Yeah.
I just want to go back to the Politico article about Lord of the Rings because, we keep coming back to this guy, but at the very end of the article, they talk to Vance's close friend, conservative writer Rod Dreher, which once again, you cannot have a guy on your ticket who's close friends with fucking Rod Dreher.
Yeah, that's death. That's it. Like Mike Pence was, I always thought he was like not a good choice, but like less shitty than Trump could have picked because he was like a reassuringly like normal dope for a lot of people. I remember reading Mike Pence's article about Mulan. And
wait, what did he have to say about Mulan?
He was like, well, this movie teaches girls to be boys, and I don't think that's okay. He wrote it in like 1998.
But what if the Mongols are invading your country? What do you got to do what you got to do?
But girls should be girls. That's what the article was.
Okay.
But he was just like, he's such a simple man.
Yeah.
He's a real bumpkin. You could probably sell, after everything Mike Pence has been through, you could probably still sell him magic jumping beans.
He did go from a born-again evangelical to a born-again Catholic.
Yeah.
Technically. Both of them are adult converts.
Yeah. Mike Pence. Oh, it's exactly reversed because Mike Pence was born Catholic and then converted to whatever
he
the
swapped it out. Yeah, he's like a evangelical Protestant, and I guess JD Vance was Protestant, but now he's Catholic.
Yeah, just any kinship with Rod Dreher is
red flag.
The opposite of reassuring.
Well, I mean, what he says here is conservative writer Rod Dreher, who Vance invited to his initiation to the faith in 2019 and was present for his first communion, told me that Vance is thinking broadly about how all must join in the great struggle against darkness. There is no avoiding the struggle, and how God can use the humble and lowborn to do great things. Think about it. Who would have imagined that sad, scared little Ohio boy living in a wreck of a family would have come all through it all and risen to the gates of supreme political power? What might God be doing with him? J.D. Vance might be the Frodo of the Hollers, a veritable hillbilly hobbit. And it's just like the way, like, I know Democrats can't talk to, like working class or rural whites, but consider the way that these people look at them. They're like, "We love you in your little hollers."
Yeah, you're like a little elf. Oh my God,
You're
you
like
guys
a little elf who's I know you're lowborn and stupid, but you're still you're summoned to do great things against the darkness.
You're like a bunch of like sort of useless little fruity guys who take 9 years to throw a ring into a mountain. So stupid, and you sing songs about bread.
That sad, scared little Ohio boy. I mean, you're supposed to be drawing a contrast between what we see now and what I saw with that Diet Mountain Dew thing was a terrified Ohio man boy.
Yeah, that clip is going, that's going to be in the TikTok crowd work algorithm. Matt Rife should study J.D. Vance.
He just has so much contempt for like the very same people that he's supposed to be from, like both from the hillbilly elegy. Like his entire shtick, I don't understand why people forget that like, his entire shtick was just being like, the mountain people are addicted to fentanyl. Like, I was joking about this, but like he basically, the way he talks about like white people in the Appalachian Mountains in that region is kind of like racist against like a certain subsect of white people, which I didn't even think was possible. Where he just says like, oh, it's not their race, it's just their culture that's inferior.
Yeah.
They don't listen to enough podcasts.
That's why he got it was so heavily promoted and like owes so much of his initial use to liberals, because that's the message that they want to hear.
He was like white Uncle Ruckus from Boondocks. He always grossed me out, even when he was before he started hanging out with Rod Dreher and all this, because it's like that book was so cynical because he's selling out everyone he's ever known and talking about how they're pieces of shit who could never get it together to like go to Harvard like he did. And the subtext of it, not even subtext, I would say the explicit message of that book was like, you don't have to care about these people. They're useless, they're lazy, they never take accountability, and Trump is their fault.
And then he wraps it up with like, because I listened to his TED Talk and it was awful. But I listened to a lot of his like older stuff when he was on MSNBC, his older work. When he was on MSNBC like every night, like Chris Matthews is like, yeah, this is a phenomenal book. I love it. It taught me so much about the mind of the Southern Angloid. Like and like they have so much content overall. It's like that classic liberal contempt for like the bicoastal elite, who just think that these are like a different class of human altogether. And his solution was for like all of these like country bumpkins who just couldn't make it out the cut like he did, was just, get lucky and also grind hard. Like it was like, oh, they just lack determination. And if only they had determination, they'd be able to, accomplish things and overcome the fact that like they live in a fucking food desert and the last Walmart just closed down. And there's not anywhere that they can get food reliably for like 30 fucking miles, and there's no hospital, so they have to go to the fucking veterinarian to get like medical care. Like they'll just overcome that by grinding hard.
Do you remember when J.D. Vance, after he became based, by the way, I don't know why Rod Dreher was at his Catholic conversion. Rod Dreher was Eastern Orthodox. He Catholicism wasn't like intense enough for him. But after he became based, that post he had where he's like, universal childcare is a war on normal people. It's like, yeah, you're really fucking normal, JD.
But returning to our fallen leader, Joe Biden, I want to turn to John Meacham writing in the New York Times. The headline here, this is an op-ed piece: Joe Biden, my friend and an American hero. Oh. And I got to give it up to Staub, who said, imagine being so bad at your job that quitting it, people call you a hero for doing it. and like John Meacham is, I think he helped. Mark Halpern reported that Meacham was the one helping him write his statement exiting the race. Meacham is like the definition of like middlebrow American historian, and like and this is what they're putting on the record. They're trying to like set the mold right now, so lay the foundation for how Joe Biden will be remembered, which is like fat fucking chance. How's he going to be remembered? I don't know, like 250,000 dead people in Gaza. That's how he's going to be fucking remembered. There's no way out of that for him.
And he got a petulant baby who facilitated and did everything he could to continue a genocide.
And Jill Biden said it best when she was like chirping last week, when she was like, we can't let Joe Biden drop out because his legacy will be tarnished and all he'll be remembered is that he lost the debate, and that will be forever like, what people remember Joe Biden as. And it's like, but that's what happened. Yep. He got owned so fucking hard that like he had to drop out.
And like
that is your legacy.
You did it to him too.
Yeah.
So this is John Meacham writing in the New York Times. On the cliffs of Normandy, in a small holding area, the President of the United States was looking out at the English Channel. It was only 6 weeks ago on the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings, and President Biden had just finished his remarks at the American Cemetery atop Omaha Beach. Guests had been congratulating him on the speech, but he didn't want to talk about himself. The moment was not about him. It was about the men who had fought and died there. Today feels so large, he told me. This may sound strange, and I don't mean it to, but when I was out there, I felt the honor of it, the sanctity of it, to speak for the American people, to speak over those graves. It's a profound thing. He turned from the view over the beaches and gestured back toward the war dead. You want to do right by them, the country. So Yeah, so his primary concern is doing right by dead people, but he's not doing much for anyone who's currently alive in this country, and like that's the problem. But like just the attempt to sort of graft onto Joe Biden this gravitas of like D-Day, and like and then again, what everyone remembers from that moment is him wandering around like a kid lost in a supermarket.
Yeah, looking at the wrong guy who landed the parachute. And just being shocked that people are capable of flight now. I was just confused.
So, all right, he goes on to say, Mr. Biden has spent a lifetime trying to do right by the nation, and he did so in the most epic of ways when he chose to end his campaign for re-election.
So epic, like a petulant child, like desperately clawing on the power, pure spite driven too.
In the Fuhrer bunker with his crackhead son, who just just wants a pardon and has seen this spiral out of control.
His decision is one of the most remarkable acts of leadership in our history, an act of self-sacrifice that places him in the company of George Washington, who also stepped away from the presidency. By the way, George Washington, another childless president who had no stake in our future. He was a cat lady.
Yeah, he was a cat boy. He was a cat person.
Yeah,
he did. Oh, that short story was based on stuff he did. It's really gross. Meacham has to do this. All the like liberal airport novelists have to do this. It's like a consolation prize for the Jamie Harrison type people.
Van Jones cried.
Which
is like that level of glazing should be illegal.
He said it's like taking away the keys from your grandfather. And you know,
after he's killed someone,
after in this case killed thousands of people, and it's just like you still love him and you want to give him the keys so bad because he just loves driving so much.
But like, what's so crazy about it is like, if Joe Biden had, and you know, he always thought he was really clever by not explicitly saying I will only serve one term, but like only hinting on it so you could never like hold him to it. But if he had actually done that, if he had not even like gone to the debate in like, you know, the beginning of this year or the end of last year,
and not had Kamala as his VP, but like someone who's actually like a rising star in the party.
If he had actually done that and stepped down, then like it would sicken me. But people actually would probably talk about him that way.
Yeah,
they would see him as the guy who beat Trump and then stepped aside and was a bridge candidate.
Yeah,
and I mean, like, he really only has himself to blame for this. The last time he talked about the bridge candidate thing was my favorite interview ever, the Lester Holt one, where Lester Holt says, you said you were going to be a bridge candidate, and Biden said something along the lines of like, got in there, it was a lot of stuff.
Powerful words.
A lot of stuff to do.
Well, he was like, I was going to be a bridge candidate, but I still have things I want to do.
Yeah,
I've got unfinished business.
It's like, and you better hurry up.
Yeah, he means the rest of Gaza.
He chose Kamala as his running mate because she was a zero that wouldn't overshadow him.
Yeah,
exactly. And now she has to run for president. Now she has to beat Donald Trump.
Do you guys not remember, like, in the first 2 years, 3 years, like, they would just send Kamala on side missions. That were so insane. They were like, go to the Caribbean or something. I don't fucking know. Go to the Philippines.
They would make her speak about the most unpopular parts of their agenda.
They made her.
They made her the border czar.
They made her. The border thing where they were like,
the border.
Yeah, just tell people not to come here.
Yeah, she told Guatemalans not to come. Like,
do not come. Do not come.
Back to Meacham here. He goes on for a bit about comparing him to George Washington, but he goes here. Here is the story I believe history will tell of Joe Biden. And you can see the palpable wish casting. And they're like, tell the story about Joe Biden in history. I'm warning you. But it says, with American democracy in an hour of maximum danger in Donald Trump's presidency, Mr. Biden stepped in the breach. He staved off an authoritarian threat at home, rallied the world against autocrats abroad. Like,
what?
He's hosting Netanyahu tomorrow. It says, rally the world against autocrats abroad, laid the foundation for decades of prosperity, managed the end of a once-in-a-century pandemic, successfully legislated on vital issues of climate and infrastructure. This infrastructure bill they're playing up the infrastructure bill like it's the Civil Rights Act.
I don't even know what's in it anymore because of crazy liberals talking about it. The way they make it sound, it's like the American Belt and Road Project. Like, it's insane.
So he says here, conducted a presidency worthy of the greatest of his predecessors. History and fate brought him to the pinnacle in a late season in life, and in the end, he respected fate and he respected the American people.
He literally didn't.
No,
he said,
he did it. Like, he did not do any of that.
It took like a member of the mafia, Nancy Pelosi, threatening him and his family. That's what. He is not a man who respects fate at all.
Character, as the Greeks first taught it, is destiny. And Mr. Biden's character is both a mirror and a maker of his nations.
True.
Like Franklin,
very true.
Like Franklin Roosevelt and Ronald Reagan, he is optimistic, resilient, and kind. A steward of American greatness.
Also demented like Ronald Reagan.
I love this thing about Biden being kind because it's always taken from like these cherry pick things of like he'll meet a kid with a stutter and then like call him on the phone once, and not like the thousands of other stories of him being a horrible asshole. Like, oh wow, he didn't immediately spit on a child and like kick him. What an amazing guy.
He is optimistic, resilient, and kind, a steward of American greatness, a lover of the great game of politics, and at heart, a hopeless romantic about the country that has given him so much. Nothing bears out this point as well as his decision to let history happen in the 2024 election. No matter how much people say that this was inevitable after the debate in Atlanta last month, there was nothing foreordained about an American president ending his political career for the sake of his country and his party. By surrendering the possibility of enduring in the seat of ultimate power, Mr. Biden has taught us a landmark lesson in patriotism, humility, and wisdom.
I mean, knowing what we know now, we all saw that story that was like, this only really happened because they finally did
they
polling,
looked at the numbers,
and they realized that it was impossible for Biden to win, that he was trailing by double digits in like Arizona. Literally the only reason this happened is because he did the math and realized people would hate him more if he stayed in and lost, and that there was a 99% chance of him losing. Like that's it. That is the only reason this happened.
He also said only God can tell me to quit, and then immediately Trump like survived an assassination attempt
by millimeters,
and then he got COVID. Like in a matter of 7 days, God was like, "No, dog, get the fuck out of the race. What are you doing?"
I know we're going a little long, but I just want to like one more. The now totally irrelevant Aaron Sorkin op-ed.
Oh yes.
Okay. When I first saw this, I was like, Aaron Sorkin, like how I would script it. The Democrats nominate Mitt Romney, and I thought for a second he meant as Kamala's VP. No, he meant as president.
Like, you may as well just be like, okay, like let's nominate Donald Trump.
Okay, I'm not one of these.
Unity.
I'm not one of these people that's like Aaron Sorkin like hates women or whatever. I don't really know enough, but like I feel like he definitely fucking hates women.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No, like he says here. The Paley Center for Media just opened an exhibition celebrating the 25th anniversary of The West Wing, the NBC series I wrote from 1999 to 2003. Some of the show's story points have become outdated in the last quarter century. The first 5 minutes of the first episode depended entirely on the audience being unfamiliar with the acronym POTUS, while others turned out to be, well, not prescient, but sadly coincidental. Gunman tried to shoot a character after an event with President Bartlett at the end of season 1. At the end of second season, in an episode called Two Cathedrals, a serious illness that Bartlett had been concealing from the public had come to light, and the president, hobbled, faced the question of whether to run for re-election. Yeah, he said in the third season opener, and I'm going to win.
I would love to see, by the way, Biden do the Two Cathedral scene where he's talking to God. Come on, man. Can you just give me another fuck?
Well, anyway,
I mean,
anyway, man, why'd you? It was a tugboat. That fucking man. You put the. Why did you kill my mom?
Well, I mean, it really was prescient because in Bartlett's tirade to God, he's like, I lowered the unemployment rate, you cocksucker.
yeah.
And then Biden would be like, infrastructure bill. The whole Meacham list of his accomplishments would include the infrastructure bill.
I'm the only guy who got up there and made Europe put together. I did the EU, fucker. God.
He's going to tell him Sweden and Finland join NATO. God's going to be very impressed.
God finally responds, my bad.
Yeah.
But he says here, at their convention next month, the Democrats should nominate Mitt Romney. Nominating Mr. Romney would be putting our money where our mouth is. A clear and powerful demonstration that this election isn't about what our elections are usually about, but about stopping a deranged man from taking power. Biden is deranged. Like, this is what we've all been seeing. This is why he dropped out. He is deranged. Surely Mr. Romney, who doesn't have to be introduced to voters, would peel off enough Republican votes to win, probably by a lot.
Why? Why do you think that?
Why? I don't understand. They just like think that there's no other voters. Like the only people that you can target are people who are lifelong Republicans who have Hitlerian politics, living in the fucking suburbs. That like those are the only voters that matter. The people that read New York Times op-eds and watch MSNBC sometimes.
The double haters would be turned into single haters, and the Nikki Haley voters would have somewhere to go. Ms. Haley having disqualified herself when she endorsed the leader of an unsuccessful attempt to overthrow the government.
Why is he dick riding a loser on the Republican side?
Like, if this was true, if the math was there for, I guess, a moderate Republican to win half of all Republican votes, then why have they lost every primary since 2014?
And this is the best paragraph to your point, Hasan, about Aaron Sorkin's attitude towards women. Does Mr. Romney support abortion rights? No. Does he want to aggressively raise the minimum wage, bolster public education, strengthen unions, expand transgender rights, and enact progressive tax reform? Probably not. But is he a cartoon thug who did nothing but watch TV while the mob he assembled beat and used tasers on police officers? No. The choice between Donald Trump and not Trump, and the not Trump candidate needs only one qualification: to win enough votes from the cross-section of Americans to close off the former president's electoral college path back to power. And this really sums up the anti-political worldview of so many liberals and people like Aaron Sorkin, because he's like, yeah, is supporting abortion rights important for a Democratic presidential candidate? No. What is important is that they felt bad about a cop being tasered.
I will say this is emblematic. I don't know if anyone else this is emblematic of other than Aaron Sorkin. To be fair here, I can't think of anyone at this point in history, besides maybe Joe Scarborough. Those are probably the only two people that think this.
Part of the wish fulfillment of the West Wing was that oratory can be persuasive. So Barack Obama could come forth at the Democratic Convention next month in Chicago and remind us, once again, that we're not red states and blue states, but the United States, by full-throatedly endorsing his old rival. And Mr. Romney could make the case that the Democrats are putting the country before party in ways that the MAGA movement will not, and announce his bipartisan cabinet picks at the convention as well.
That would go so good. You know what would go great? Running against Trump and being like, okay, all the people you hate from the political establishment, we're all working together to stop Trump. Genius.
I mean, yeah, I don't have much more. I don't have much more on Aaron Sorkin, but I mean, he's already walked it back. He was like, I take it back.
This is it's amazing because could you design a situation that removes Joe Biden but makes Trump even more likely to win? It's this.
Does he have no friends? Not a single person that he could have just been like, yo, do you guys think this is a good idea if I write this? You didn't have a single person be like, dude, what the fuck did you say? Mitt Romney? Are you on crack?
Hey, he brought the Olympics to Salt Lake City. Okay?
Right? Yeah, that's right. It's great.
I can't believe
another guy who's inexplicably now rendered in contrast to Trump as a decent, kind-hearted man.
The fucking private equity dog torturer.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there was another. Oh, this is last second stuff, but I gotta mention fucking my boy Matty Iglesias.
Ooh. What's he been on about?
So one of the obvious villains of on the Democratic side of the Democratic Party has been obviously Joe Manchin, who left the party, and now he wants to come back and run for president in the open convention. And Matty Iglesias said it's actually a brilliant idea, which is how are these people getting paid for political analysis?
What do these people believe in? That's what I want to know. What do they actually believe in? I don't think even they know.
Yeah, no.
Why? Who would vote for Joe Manchin? I don't understand. I guess West Virginians, but that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's practically winning California or Texas. So many votes there.
Well, it's been an unprecedented week in American history. R.I.P. to Joe Biden. Like I said, coming back to Kamala here, I would not be too confident that this is a layup election for the Democrats, even now that it's reverted back to norm. But the Republicans seem pretty pressed by this, and it's going to be interesting to see where it all turns out. If if she runs like a normal, if she doesn't say the word NATO even once running for president, I think they should be pretty confident about their chances. Can they do that though? Is the question.
I follow this stuff pretty closely, as you guys know, and I also get like real time feedback from a lot of people in my chat. And when she delivered her speech at the campaign headquarters, it was carbon copy Joe Biden. Like she was just basically, she had been handed a script that was Joe Biden's script that he was supposed to read at a certain point and failed to do so, but she was able to deliver it because, you know, I guess they took her off the Xanax. I don't know. But like, it wasn't very convincing. It wasn't very charismatic. I said, like, she doesn't have charisma. She doesn't have riz, is what I said. And people immediately were like, oh, you're expecting her to shuck and jive for you? And I was like, this is like, they're so ready.
Yeah.
The mind of like a ride or die Democratic Party liberal is so ready to just be like, oh, you must be like a racist, sexist person for saying that like Kamala Harris.
But you were a racist, sexist person a week ago for saying that she should be the nominee.
Yeah.
No, but they were on board with that back then. They were like the people who were like, yeah, we got to get Joe Biden out. But now they're like, okay, but now Kamala's in, and you know, we got to make sure that we are strongly committed to her.
I don't know. I mean, like to put a religious cast over everything. So on your point earlier, what God is saying to Joe Biden, I think he's saying to all of America, which is that we are cursed.
Yeah, kill yourself.
We are like the Pharaoh.
God is saying kill yourself and everyone you know.
Yeah.
Gun to my head, just in general, but also if I'm being forced to pick a winner of this election, gun to my head, if I had to pick it right now, I would probably say that Trump loses. Just seeing like the sheer degree of like panic and incompetence and just, I mean,
and the fact that he is like kind of low energy, like he's losing.
Yeah,
his riz
yeah. I just, gun to my head, that's what I think. I think regardless, Democrats probably pick up the House. But beyond that, who knows? Who knows? We did say this was a great environment for what we want, the 50,000 voter election. And we just might get that. So I'm hoping for that.
Well, who knows what events will hold in the coming weeks and months.
Oh, yeah.
We will be in Chicago. I mean, the show's already sold out, but I am, as I said, cannot be prouder to carry the banner of Biden or bust to Chicago, because if it ain't Biden, you ain't American, Jack. If you don't vote for Biden, if you don't write in Joe Biden, then you have betrayed democracy.
Yeah. Write in Joe Biden and Frank Biden. Right? And Frank Biden is his running
Just to be
mate.
safe, just if he dies.
Yeah. No, he's the closest thing we have to Joe right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will be going to Chicago. We will be using bewitching branches on the DNC to bring back Joe.
I'll be there as well.